Hi, this is a numbers game. This is kind of what we play before we start factoring with quadratics. It's to kind of get our minds thinking what factors get one number, but then we can combine to get another number. So let's start playing. Here's your rules. You have to come up with two numbers that fit each description. The two numbers can be both positive or both be negative or one of each. So we need to find numbers that multiply to get to 18, that's a positive, and add to get to 9. So you start thinking of all the multiples of 18. So what are your factors of positive 18? And then once you solve those, then you're going to figure out, combining them, which one could get to 9. And the answer for this one is, of course, 3 to 6. So now let's practice. So you want to think of what are the multiples of negative 24. So when you're thinking of negative 24, you know that one of them has to be positive and one of them is going to have to be negative to be the factors of 24. So you have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, and we're just going to write down a few of them. 8 and 3 and 4 and 6. And I just kind of go down the number line until I get quite a few to see if I can get there. So now let's take these factors and we have to think, how can we combine them to get to a positive 5? Combining, remember, is adding and subtracting. So I'm looking at the first one, 1 and 24. That's not going to get me to a 5. 2 and 12. That won't get me to a positive 5 either. 3 and 8. That's a strong possibility. 4 and 6. Nope, that's not going to get me either. So I'm going to use the 3 and the 8. So, but I want to get to a positive 5. Well, if my number is bigger, I'm going to have to use that bigger number to be positive. So that must mean that it's a positive 8 and a negative 3. So these are going to be the factors that I'm going to use. So it would be a positive 8 and a negative 3. And I sometimes like to put it into a little X format because that helps me. The number I'm multiplying is on top. The number I'm combining by is on bottom. So let's go to the second one. So the top number would be a negative 12 that we're finding the factors of, and the bottom number that we're trying to find to combine them would be a 4. So let's go over to our little table. Factors of negative 12. Well, 1 and 12, we always know that. 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And since it's a negative 12, we know one of them is going to be positive and one of them is going to be negative. So now let's go over which one of these can combine to get to a 4. Well, by looking at them, we know that 2 and 6 can get us to a 4. So, and since it's a positive 4, the bigger number is going to have to be positive. And you can use your calculator always to verify that you have the correct answer. So my answers for this would be a positive 6 and a negative 2. Let's try one more. So now we're trying to get to a negative 36, and the factors have to combine to get to a positive 5. So we have negative 36, and they have to combine to get to a positive 5. So let's think of our factors of 36. 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9. So which one of these can we combine to get to a 5? Well, looking down the list, you can go all the way to the bottom and know that the 4 and 9, we can combine those to get to a positive 5. We know that with our factors, since it's a negative 36, one's got to be positive and one's got to be negative. So looking at the 4 and the 9, how do I get to a positive 5? Well, that must be a positive 9 and a negative 4. That would get to a positive 5. So my answer would be positive 9, negative 4. Let's try one more. Negative 45. So how am I going to get to a negative? Multiply numbers together. Find our factors of negative 45, but then they add together to get to a positive 4. So what are my factors? 1 and 45, 3 and 15, and how about 5 and 9? So which one of these could combine together to get to a positive 4? And we know, once again, since it's a negative 45, one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative. We can look down the list and find that the factors of 5 and 9 can get me to a positive 4. Since it's positive, that's going to be a positive 9 and a negative 5. I hope this game helps you with the beginning part of factoring for quadratics. Have a great day!